Good morning, traders. Welcome back to another pre-market watch list here on the Boiler Room. As many of you know, we've been trading pretty much one ticker for the past week, for the most part, and that's TVIX. And again, that's most likely going to be the ticker that we are trading today as well. Really, there's only three tickers we're going to watch: TVIX, UVXY, and HTGM at this point right now. Now, there are a few, there might be some new tickers that pop up as, pre-market starts ending and we get closer to market open. But as for right now, those are primarily the three tickers that I and my team are going to be watching and trading here this morning. So good morning, Mr. Corna. Always good to see you in here. Cody, good morning to you as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen, and then we're going to hop right into it. Not going to be very long. It's going to be pretty quick breakdown here this morning. All right, so let's take a look at TVIX real fast. So TVIX did have a little bit of a choppy trading day yesterday. So there were some moves and some trades that we were able to get in on and make some good profit. And then as we came closer into the lunch hour, you could see TVIX started rallying back and forth. Now, this is good for scalp trading. All throughout here in these moves here, this is primarily where you want to be scalping. You want to be looking for 5 to 10 cent moves. And primarily scalping. Whenever the market starts to be a little bit choppy like this, you're really more so looking at scalp trading than you are for more of a longer hold of 5 to 10 minutes, shall we say. So first here, we're going to take a look at the SPY. So you can see the SPY actually gapped down this morning. The SPY hasn't gapped down quite this big for the past couple days. It has moved down during regular hours trading, but it hasn't really gapped down quite this big. So we did in turn gap down this morning pre-market on the SPY, but ever since it bottomed out kind of in this 263 area, we did start kind of uptrending here a little bit. Now, here's the deal. I really think we might see a red day on the SPY. This 265 area where I have this line drawn, this is kind of the line in the sand, the important area to watch for. Right at about 265, that's where the price was hanging out yesterday, pre-market as well. You can kind of see right here, right near the 265. So the idea here is we want to see the SPY reject 265. So I won't, I wouldn't mind seeing the SPY actually move back up in this direction. Oh, let me get my drawing tool out. Wouldn't mind seeing the SPY move back up in this direction here to reject closer to 265. And if it keeps failing to break through 265, we should in turn start seeing the overall market continue down or the S&P continue down. Now, again, I'm following the ETF, so SPY. Right, this is an ETF fund that basically is the S&P 500. All right, so this is primarily what I like to follow here. AA, so the trade room, it's not only a trading room, it's a trading course. So ideally, you're going to enroll yourself into a trading course and learn, strategies of going long, short selling, creating watch lists, scanning for stocks. Some terminology, but a lot of stuff revolved around trading. That's what's in the trading course. And then along with the trading course, you get access to a chat room and then a live trading room that's comprised of a few stock charts, some stock scanners. You also get watch lists. And that's primarily just it. You're going to get some stock scanners, a trading course, live trading room where you can watch me and a few others trade in real time and call out stocks that we're watching or when we're entering and exiting positions, right? And the link's in the description below if you would like to go ahead and sign up. Also, if you do, you can use a coupon code. It's called 10 off or 49 off. 10 off is for the monthly and 49 off is for yearly. So per month it's 30, but right now we're running a sale which gives you $10 off, and that will be for every single month. So essentially you'll be coming out at around $20 a month for the course. And yes, there is a live chat, correct. All right, so Back over to the SPY, right? So again, we're watching the SPY because we're trading TVIX. And as many of you know now, TVIX is an inverse ETN. So whenever the SPY goes up, this will go down. Whenever the SPY goes down, TVIX will go up. So ideally, we want to see the SPY roll over and continue down today, which will allow us to take a position on TVIX to the long side. There's really no entry price for TVIX yet. There's no target price because it's all in relation to what the overall market does. Okay. Calvin, TVIX is not my favorite. Right now it is, just because it plays with the market. So right now the S&P is seeing a lot of volume because of the uncertainty that we're in and whether or not we're going to head into a bear market. And there you go from Mark right there, right? Mark made $6,900 throughout probably last week and a little bit this week trading TVIX alone with me in the live trading room. Now, of course, you know, results are going to vary from person to person depending on your account size and the positions you take. But that's the idea. It's not necessarily so you can mirror my trades or, you know, it's really to learn and see what it's like to trade in real time with a professional and just kind of get the overall idea of how it works. So yes and no, right? So it can be because it is a two times velocity ETN. So it is a little bit more volatile than other tickers, but ideally when it comes to day trading, volatility is what you need in order to make money day trading. That's what we really are looking for. And if you time your entries correctly with the SPY, then it really becomes, I don't want to say easy, but it does become easier because you're following two tickers, right? So whenever you're debating taking a position on TVIX, you have that confirmation with the SPY. So you're kind of playing two tickers. So if you feel the SPY is going to go in one direction and you're getting confirmation there, then you're almost certain on the direction of TVIX. Again, so we're only trading TVIX and UVXY because the way the market has been acting, right? If the market isn't volatile and there isn't a lot of volume in the SPY, then TVIX and UVXY aren't really going to be as of much important to us. So, and there's another one, 1,500 yesterday from Frank there following the trades on TVIX. So primarily, that is the one ticker I'm going to most likely trade along with UVXY. We're not going to really look at UVXY here on today on the stream because it's the same thing as TVIX. It's just actually a little bit more volatile. All right. The other ticker I do want to watch is a penny stock, and this one is HTGM. All right, so HTGM was actually a penny stock that did really well, and I actually missed all of it because I was so wrapped up in trading TVIX yesterday. But as you can see, it did ramp up pretty good. It went from about, now we'll say $3.50 to a high of $4.69. So for a penny stock, it moved a whole dollar yesterday. So that's a really big move for a penny stock to move a whole dollar. Now, it did dump out a little bit before the end of the day, but not too much. So I actually kind of suspect we might go green a little bit today. Like we're actually going to go green on HTGM for a little bit before coming down. It's quite hard to say what's going to happen exactly with this ticker because there is some news on it that was from yesterday. And basically it says that Fidelity has a 13.2% passive stake in the company. So they're saying that Fidelity has a stake in the company. They have a 13.2% position in that company. So what does that really mean? It means that a big name company like Fidelity has money within that company. And the only reason they would is, you know, they see potential in that company. And that's kind of why we've seen HTGM pop up. Calvin, here's the thing. I'll come back to that question in just a second here. So to wrap up on HTGM, it had good news yesterday about Fidelity having a stake in it. That's why it pumped up. And that's why I don't think that it's really fully dumped out, because that news is pretty good. And the news is good enough to the point where I don't actually foresee HTGM really, really dumping out. I actually kind of think we might go green on HTGM. Now, some areas to watch for resistance are going to be here at 445, another level here at 450, 458, and another level here, which was the previous high a day from yesterday at about 470. Those are going to be 3 levels to watch for if HTGM goes green, to maybe see some resistance or pullbacks. Ideally, I want to see HTGM squeeze up a little bit. Oh, I got to go back here. I want to see HTGM squeeze up this morning, maybe up to this level here, reject, and then I want to short it, and hopefully it fades out all day. That's kind of my game plan going forward with that. You know what, Marv, let's talk about GNC. I will talk about that because I seen it this morning. So GNC is gapping up this morning with good earnings. So this here is definitely a stock that you should watch. I didn't have it on just because I wasn't really that crazy about it. But regardless of what I'm crazy about, it still is worth keeping an eye on, right? So if we look at it here, we are definitely gapping up this morning due to good earnings. So the price is at 592. That's the high here pre-market. So let's go into the yearly chart and we'll look at our moving averages. Since the price of the stock on a yearly chart is below its moving averages, we then look at every whole dollar, half dollar, and every moving average above the price to find out where we might stop out. So what was the price? It was almost 590 was the high, right? So at 590, no. So really it stopped out just before the $6 level. So right now it's above its 100 moving average. The next moving average resistance is all the way to 729. So ideally it does have the possibility of running up a whole dollar today. So let's watch it and we'll see how it reacts. It's definitely bullish right now, and we definitely have a pre-market high at 590. So here's the way you kind of want to trade this, right? If you're going to go long, you got to be careful of the $6 mark. We might pop up to $6 and see a lot of heavy overhead selling pressure, which in turn will cause the stock to no longer go higher, and it should actually start coming down. So keep an eye on the $6 level. Above $6 would probably be where I would want to long, or I would get in on a dip buy before $6 and look to sell at $6 if it appears that we're not going to break. Matt, VIRT, I'm not shorting it. I actually didn't short it yesterday. I ended up trading TVIX right out of the gates, but see, this is kind of what we were saying. Right? We had this long extension and it ended up being a really good short play yesterday. It actually dropped from 28 down to 26. So 2 points right in the morning, it dumped out. So pretty good trade there yesterday. Nice, Matt. Glad to hear it. Scanners, Jeremy, just scanners really. And that's the thing, right? If you can build these scanners yourselves, I have some YouTube videos on how to build them. Yeah, there's some YouTube videos. So if you go and type in pre-market watch list, or if you type in pre-market scanner, you'll most likely find one of my videos on YouTube where you can build some stock scanners. Trade ideas as well. Trade ideas is about 100 a month. That's what I personally use as trade ideas. So again, right, VIRT was a good play yesterday. So to wrap it up, HTGM is going to be a stock to watch today. But I'm keeping on TVIX, of course, UVXY. And those are primarily all the stocks that I'm going to watch here today. Yeah, let me take a look here at CATB. I do see the gap up. I see that it's fading out. There had to be some news on it. Pharmaceuticals and preserve muscle functions. Yeah, so that is some pretty good news. The price gapped up really big, and now it's starting to roll over. So I'm not like, whenever you see this, whenever you see a stock gap up really high and then it just dumps right away, that's usually a sign that it's probably not going to hold up or do very, very good. for the next day. Xerif, yeah, long plays will be on TVIX all day long. All day. There will be long plays all day on TVIX. HTGM might go long as well. Nice, David. So that's where we're going to stop it here. I'm going to go over and cover one of the questions that we had earlier, right? 1 second. Right. So to answer the gentleman's question on how do you know whether or not a stock is a pump and dump? Well, in reality, pump and dumps don't really happen anymore. I mean, they do kind of, but not really. Before the SEC, Security and Exchange Commission, basically the government of stock trading, you could call it, before, watch for JNUG. So before the SEC really cracked down, there were pump and dumps where people would send out newsletters, they'd send out emails, you get email blasted saying to buy this stock, and it would hype it up, and then more people would buy, more people would buy. But before all these people would buy, there already be a handful of shareholders that owned millions, if not hundreds of thousands, hundreds of thousands to millions of shares in that company. They would then pay someone to promote that company or that ticker, and then eventually it would pump the stock up from having new investors build that price up, and then those people with all the shares would sell, causing the stock to dump. That has really been cracked down on, so there's really not the real pump and dumps going on anymore. It's really a thing of the past. But you'll still hear the terminology pump and dump, and it's most likely associated with penny stocks. It pretty much is only associated with penny stocks. And the reason being is because penny stocks have low flow, which means they have a lower supply of shares on the open market. So when there's a lower supply of shares and there's more people buying it, so as soon as momentum comes in and a lot of people, come towards, or they gravitate towards that stock and they start buying it when it's a low flow, the price will get jacked up really fast, right? And it's the same thing. It goes up really fast, and then when people start to sell and take their profits, it causes the stock to dump because it's a low supply. So that's really the idea behind pump and dump. You never really know if it's going to be a pump and dump, but ideally, this is the way you look at it. Most pump and dumps will come from penny stocks. Anything below $5. So $5 and below is what we classify a penny stock. That's where you're going to see, ideally, any pump and dump. And how do you know if it's a pump and dump? Well, technically you don't, but most penny stocks have like a 99% chance of failing and never really making it out of the penny stock world, and will most likely go bankrupt or be delisted at some point in their life. So knowing that, most penny stocks you should always treat as a bad stock, and they're only to be traded while the going is good. And as soon as you start to feel that it's going to start going down, you sell, because penny stocks are very unreliable. They're good for a quick buck, but not good for long-term holds, most likely. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Just like Molk, like there's some people that still try to do it. But yeah, Kayla, you can stay, you can stick around. There's some other channels out there. You could check out Ricky Gutierrez. You could check out Warrior Trading. There's plenty of people out there that do live streaming. So if I can't, help you by the way that I do things, I do apologize. It's okay. But if you like, there's a few other guys out there that you should be able to check out and learn from. So I would definitely recommend Warrior Trading, and maybe Ricky Gutierrez. He does a pretty good job. So any of those guys, definitely check them out. So yeah, pump and dumps are going to be only classified with penny stocks. And it's not that they're actually pump and dumps. It's just that everyone knows they're typically unreliable for long-term growth. So as soon as they have that big boom, they tend to sell off, knowing that they're most likely garbage, right? And they're going to be taken out. So that's really how you treat it and look at it. Let's see. So hold on 1 second. I got a lot of comments coming. 1 second. Exactly. They used to be called the boiler rooms, which is funny, right? I named it the boiler room kind of because of that reason. I really like the name, but it's funny because it's almost a catch-22, because we're not pumping and dumping stocks. We're actually giving reliable stocks to trade on the boiler room. So that's why I kind of chose that name. Now, you asked, what's with small size, what's a reasonable profit target on TVIX? Now, that's hard to say. All right. But what I can say is that for the past, let's just use yesterday, for example. Yesterday, I'll show you here. I'll go back in. Nah, I won't go back in. But TVIX was seeing multiple 20, 30 cent high-low swings. So in a period of time, it was better to scalp, right? So if you were to take, let's say, 1,000 shares, which would have came out to about maybe $10,000 yesterday, because it's about $10. Yeah, about $10,000, $11,000. So essentially, you'd rather be taking $10,000, $11,000 positions. So it really depends. You do need some capital to trade with. Profit targets are hard to say, right? Like some of my trades yesterday were $1,000 to $1,500 profits based on the size that I was taking. So it's a really challenging question that you really can't answer, because it all depends, right? If you're taking 1,000 shares and it moves 10 cents, you're going to make $100, right? If you take 2,000 shares and it moves 10 cents, you'll make $200, right? Some of my positions are, on average, right? On average, I'm taking $2,000 to $5,000 positions, right? And I'm looking for 20, 30, 40 cents and whole dollar moves. Ideally, I always want a dollar move, because I like to take $3,000 to $4,000 or 3,000 to 4,000 share position. So if I can get a dollar move on that whole position, I'll make $4,000, $5,000 on that trade. But that doesn't happen every time, right? More often than not, it's not going to happen. I'll get 20, 30 cents a share, which is great, because I'm still making $1,000 to $2,000 per those positions. Now, they don't always work, right? And I do lose, but that's the nature of the business. So Matt, Jake, that's because crypto isn't yet available in all states for Robinhood. And then Matt, here's a good one. So to kind of shorten that question up just a little bit, the question is how best to plan size to grow an account with cutting risk, or like cutting your losses. So this is because risk management is something that's going to take a while to get used to, and feeling comfortable, like finding, the exact amount of money you're comfortable with trading will take some time. But the one thing that I always state that is very easy to do to learn it is this. And it's super simple, right? When you're first starting to invest or trade, start very low. Not start very low because you're just starting to trade. Well, yes, but no. Start very low because as a new trader, you really don't know how much you should be risking. You don't know how much you're comfortable with, how much money you're comfortable having in a trade at one time. Like right now, I'm comfortable with having $20,000, $40,000, $60,000 in a position at any given time. I'm comfortable with that, right? I know I can expect how much I'll lose if the trade starts going against me, just because I've been doing it for so long. But in your case, you maybe not have been doing it for so long. So start really small, and then, every week go up a little bit, go up a little bit, go up a little bit, until that week comes that you're putting maybe a couple $1,000s on the line. And when you get into a position and you have that dollar amount in a position at one time, if your heart is beating, your hands get sweaty, emotionally, you're like, oh, should I get out? Should I stay in? I don't know. That's when you've hit your top. You have now peaked out on how much you should be trading with. Because as soon as you get into a trade and you're uncomfortable because you're scared of losing, you're risking too much. And that's the easiest way I can say to do it, because if you build your way up slowly and eventually get to a point in which you're putting money on the line, but you're nervous, your heart's starting to beat, you can feel your adrenaline kicking in, it's too much and you should start scaling back. And at that point, once you hit that peak, scale back. So the perfect amount of money to trade with is the saying, trade what you're willing to lose. And what I mean by that is when you get into a position and you're not really scared of losing, and you can hold it until your trade works in your favor and you're making, logical decisions when coming to trading, then you're in the right zone. It's when you have too much money on the line that you're scared. You'll get out early. You won't hold on long enough. You'll all those things will come into play because you're nervous of losing, and it's because there's too much money on the line. Yeah, so that's what I got for you guys. I hope that helps. So again, so for those of you tuning in, there is a sale going on for the course. So if you want to join in, get into our live trading room, trade next to me and some others, and really just join the community. It is really the most affordable trading course in live trading room in the whole market. So what I mean is you get a whole trading course. You'll get live training 2 times a week where we gather in a group and we cover different topics, different strategies, some basics. We kind of go through all these things. So right now, if you're tuning in, you want to join. If you do the monthly, use a coupon code 10 off. Again, that's 10 off. And if you want to do yearly, use the coupon code 49 off. And that will be good until this upcoming Sunday, right? So after Sunday, the coupon codes will no longer be available. So again, the link's in the description to join. The link is also in the description to get into the free version of our chat room. So go ahead, check it out if you want to join. And then I'll catch you guys all tomorrow morning, okay?